If your team does not deliver, it has to do with the way you collaborate with them. If this is the first time you are on my channel, my name is Vlad, and today I want to share with you the single mistake that can jeopardize the whole process of implementing a SaaS product. As a bonus, by the time you finish watching this video, you will also know the tactics and strategies to prevent that mistake from happening on your journey. Let's get straight to it. To better understand the problem, I want you to think of SaaS founders that you know. Maybe they're your peers, maybe they are in your network. When you ask them or when they just explain you what their business is about, what comes to mind? I find it more and more often that most entrepreneurs start explaining our technology does this, or on our platform you could do this, this and that. It's alright, but there are a couple of things that I'm missing. And the biggest one is the problem that we're solving for the market. And who is our market? And how exactly are we solving this problem? And why is this a better solution? You see, a lot of tech founders or the ones who start building SaaS, they're coming from the technical background, and that puts them into a habit of thinking from the technology and trying to make it work for everybody else. Luckily, if you're from the marketing space, it's going to be easier because you're thinking more from the user perspective. But one thing that's missing is an upfront preparation for it. You see, when you're starting the project, when you're giving your team instructions, okay, we want to achieve this, this and that. Usually, the formulation of this is the platform should do X, or would this feature should automate this. Instead, next time, try to think of we want our users to be able to achieve that, or we want our users' problem to be solved in this way. When you think from this perspective, it just gives you basically a roadmap of how to solve a problem because you put it as a priority. You see, you're not prioritizing features, you're not prioritizing benefits. You're prioritizing basically solving the problem, which is the core of your business. Now that we know what the problem is with most SaaS startups, and by the way, most of them fail because of this at the pre-seed stage, just because they don't have a product market fit, they don't figure out the smallest details to make it solve the actual problem. Now that we're aware of what we're trying to solve, let's talk about how we can prevent it happening in our organization. What we've developed as a process when we were working on SaaS products, and we've developed quite a few, we have this thing called SaaS project discovery. Basically, think of a product that takes 5 to 6 months to build. We're actually investing around 1 to 2 months in just purely discovering. And by discovering, meaning we map out all the problems, all the desires that users have and we need to achieve through the platform, and then we start reverse engineering them into an actual solution. So coming into a bunch of mind maps, user flows, wireframes, this is the work that most people miss just because they don't think this is important. When you're working as an entrepreneur, you want to deliver fast. Can we make it 1 month faster? Can we do it into this time frame, how we can make the process faster? The process will be pretty fast if you have the plan ahead of time. Meaning, if you organize a discovery, let's call it a discovery for a project, meaning before your team writes a single line of code, if you know exactly what the product will be, what the problem it will be solving, how even it will look like, it addresses a couple of issues. One is you get clarity. And it's not so much about your clarity or just your team's clarity. It's about you and your team having the same understanding. It means that when you start and when you finish, expectations don't change. You know exactly what the product will be the outcome of this process. And you can plan for that with your marketing initiatives, sales initiatives, pre-sales. You can promise it to other people as well, without the danger of it being different from what you initially promised. And it just brings predictability, meaning that usually, I would say about 80% of SaaS startup projects fail to deliver on time just because there's no proper discovery in it. You see, when you have a plan in advance, it makes your business predictable. And when it's predictable, it can be measured, it can be improved. I know, for most part, project discovery, if anything, it sounds boring. It's far from being exciting because it's planning, it's strategizing, it's creating all these small elements on the map, making sure they're all flawlessly interconnected with each other, and it takes time. It takes time before you can get into an actual action. However, it is a required step if you want to play the successful game, the long-term game, if you don't want to risk, to jeopardize your whole process just because you want to save a month or two of your project and just roll it out faster. If you're currently in the process of getting started on a SaaS product, building a SaaS product, or just strategizing on it, I invite you to connect with me on LinkedIn, and I might be able to add value to you through some of the advices that I had by building tens and even hundreds of discoveries at this stage. Until next time, I'll see you in my next video.